Hi everyone, so we're going to be doing an example on while loops. So I'm just going to actually rename this to just a while loop.js file, and we're just going to look at a basic example on how to set up a while loop. So let's say I have, I'll set up the basic structure of a while loop. So we have the word while, and then some sort of brackets here, rounded brackets. We're going to put some value in here to know how many times it should iterate, or some sort of variable in order to make it change. And here we have the curly brace brackets, and this is where we write our logic inside the while loop so it can continue. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up some variables. I'm going to set up some variables above the while loop. So var proceed, let's say, is equal to true, and then var number is equal to 0. So what we could do is we just need to make sure that whatever's here in these rounded brackets, as long as it's true, then it'll continue doing the while loop. So we could just type in proceed because proceed is already true. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a console.log of number, so it will show the number each time it iterates. So the problem here right now, what we have is this is going to end up being an infinite loop because we don't have anything actually changing the number, but also we don't have something ending or changing the proceed value from true to false. So we could then, let's say, set up a if statement, and we'll say number equals to 3. If it's 3, then we could make proceed equal to false, so it'll change from true to false. And what I'll do is I'll increment the number so at least it changes, it increments, because if we do not increment the number, it will never get to 3. So I'm going to save it, and I'm just going to write a multi-line comment down below so I could try to see what the logic is before I run it. So what's going to happen is it's going to read the code from top down, so it'll be proceed, true, okay, number 0, and then we're going to get to the while loop, and we have these curly brackets here, so we're going to go inside the while loop. So proceed is true, so it means we can go inside. We're going to console log the number, so the first time it console logs, it will be value of 0 because we haven't changed anything yet. And then it's going to check, is number equal to 3, so 0 equal to 3? No, it's false. So we skip the if statement, and then we can increment number by 1. So 0 turns to 1. And now that we've made it to the end of the while loop, it will then go back up to the top of the while loop, and it'll say, is proceed still true? Yes, it is. So I'm going to console log the number again, and that's when I get the number 1 displayed. And does 1 equal to 3? No, it's not equal, so we skip the if statement. We increment the number again, but when we go to the end of the while loop, it goes back up here. Is proceed still true? Yes, it is. And we are going to console log out number because we incremented number from the bottom of the while loop and we got back in the while loop. We're going to console log the number, so 1 will turn to 2. And then does 2 equal to 3? No. So then we're going to increment the number again, and it's going to go to the bottom of the while loop. It'll go up to the top, and it's going to console log out number. So before we came back into the while loop again, we incremented the number. So we're going to then console log out the number 3. And because it is the value of 3 here, when we go down to this if statement, does 3 equal to 3? Yes, it does. So proceed is equal to false now. It changes the value of proceed, which is the value in these brackets right here in the while loop. So we are still going to go to the next line under the if statement. We're going to increment number. And when we go back to the bottom of the while loop and it goes back to the top, does proceed allow us to keep going? No, because it is false. So if it is false, we will break out of the while loop. So if I save it right now, And if I just run the terminal, I'll run the file with node.js. And you can see when I run node whileloop.js, it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and it's exactly the same thing as I wrote here. But you notice that it still incremented the number at the end. So if I do a console.log number below the while loop, and now when we come out of the while loop, it will console log whatever that number has updated to. So now we will also get the number 4 here in our terminal. So let me run it again. And you can see here we get 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4.